Some people are more bottom than others.
Hey, in case you hadn't noticed, you're being rated.
Hi there. How are you? Hello, Raiders. How's it going? Good morning. I hope I don't sound too bad. I think Am I quiet? Do I need more? Hold on. How's that? Is that better? Too much? Not enough? Much better? Okay. So, I somehow deleted my entire like stream profile for streaming. Like in OBS. It's just gone. I went to delete a different one cuz when I was tutoring, I would use the OBS virtual camera so that I could have like stuff on screen even though no one ever came to my tutoring sessions. I should have just streamed while I tutored. That would have been so much better. Yeah, I embrace the impermanence of all things. I committed myself to samsara.
Gaming.
I was trying to delete the little shitty one that I had for academic purposes, and I was in that scene and I pressed delete and it was like, do you want to delete this? And I said yes, and it got rid of the main scene. I don't know. I may have encountered a bug in that regard. I think that the feature was not working as intended. So I have to rebuild my entire stream bullshit thingy. Like if we go over here, this is the video scene. It's just a void. Welcome back from the void. Ooh, I should probably add myself in there. Hold on. Pop. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah, do you like my new starting soon screen? I just it's like I like to think of it as like the end of the month food salad of streaming. I'm not 100% familiar with the teachings of the Buddha, but if delete your OBS profile was one of them, he was really prescient. I'm just imagining like some sort of like contemporary of Siddhartha Gautama being like, and then there's gonna be these things called VTubers. Oh shit, oh god, my bitrate reset. Fuck. It reset to 6,000. That might cause a problem, but I don't know. OBS seems happy, but I get the red line in Twitch. Excuse me. So unsexy. That's okay, Tara. I just got here too. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm getting better from my illness that I had a little bit ago. I think I'll be better by the end of the week. But yeah, I did my taxes yesterday. I get like $20 back. And that's it, because I made like no money last year. Like, because I had a job for like a month. And then I was like, I'll get my my CompTIA certification, then I'll sure have a job. And then I got it, and I was like, oh no, the market, it's contracting. No. And then I didn't get a job, so now I'm going back to college. You had $44,000 in extra taxes? Huh? Oh, that's right. Oh. Oh yeah, I remember when you did that. Yeah, you like you performed a stock maneuver this year. But yeah, I did no such thing. I have like hold on. Let me see. How is my money doing? I have like $80 in the stock market. Make that 83. We're making money, boys. But yeah, I have like a rinky-dink Robinhood account that I made last year because I was like, I wonder what that's like. Refuse to touch stocks. That's Patrick Bateman devilry. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about American Psycho. Patrick Bateman isn't even like a stock trader or whatever. Like, you'll note one of the things that makes American Psycho such a compelling story is after a while you realize no one's actually working. Like, no work is occurring in American Psycho whatsoever. I had to liquidate a bunch of my retirement investments to consolidate them, and I just haven't reinvested lately because I'm waiting on the big crash in a few years. That's understandable. Like, you put your money under the mattress and it devaluates. You put your money in the stock market and it devaluates. Honestly, like, I feel like it's become a bit of a meme, like those guys on like the internet who are like, "You need to buy gold." But at this point, like, I mean, gold is a valuable resource. It's kind of integral for most computing manufacture. So like maybe I should buy like a lump of gold and then sell it back later to make a marginal profit. I know apparently they sell gold at Costco. They do so little work that acquisitions is spelled wrong on all their business cards. Yeah. That's why I put my money into VTubers. That's an investment that will last. That's ironclad right there. Costco lump of dirt even comes with bulk dirt. Lump of gold even comes with bulk dirt around it from the mines. So real talk, I had a Robinhood account and I made it somebody's behest, but I made it around the time the GameStop stock debacle happened, and hearing about how Robinhood was fucking with people's GameStop stocks left me a sour taste in my mouth. Yeah, I don't have any meme stocks. I have stocks in like Nvidia and Berkshire Hathaway. You know, just evil mega corporations. That's the way for me. Good morning, Luna. How are you? Invest in car batteries. Surely nothing can go wrong with storing large numbers of. I keep mine underwater. I buried them in the lake. Remember, you need to throw car batteries in the lake when you're done with them. The little fish and crabs at the bottom of the lake, they'll see it drift down and they'll go, "Oh my god, finally! Somebody threw a car battery in the lake. I can power my house." When people say buy gold, do they mean to buy literal physical gold or buy like gold futures or something? They mean literal physical gold. Like, you should be converting your negotiable, tenderable currency into like gold bullion and coin. I invest in silver myself. I mean, that's understandable. Silver is like also a precious metal that does keep up with like just the way that the precious metal market works, and also the fact that we have actually found like tangible uses for most precious metals in the modern computer age does make them like fairly reasonable stores of value. And also, for some reason, people just really like gold. But who do you sell your gold to? Presumably not the we buy cheap, crappy jewelry shops. A lot of like coin dealers. So like, I've actually been looking into this recently because it fascinates me. So a lot of coin dealers and gold like merchants, because gold is such a commodity, and because it's so well understood of its value, like, and because it's basically like non-reactive, so like you don't get like shitty gold after a while, like your gold doesn't go bad. They operate on what's called spot price, which is the generally agreed upon market price of gold that's pretty much universal. And you'll get like so many percent, you'll get like upwards of around the upper 90% of spot price when you sell gold back. Or you'll get like all of spot price potentially, because that's just like, that is how much gold is considered to be worth on a given day. I remember there was a certain like, there was a certain phenotype of kid when I was in middle school. And for some reason, a lot of the ones at my school were like Jehovah's Witnesses, where they would see the Cash for Gold commercials on television, and then they would become like an evangelist for Cash for Gold. Also, if you're still here, Saiba Uva, thank you for the follow so much. I'm sorry I didn't see it earlier. But like anytime you would have anything that looked remotely nice, they'd be like, you could sell that. Cash for Gold. And it was so weird. They were like corporate shills at the age of like 8 for this like mail-in gold seller. The idea of being in a school with a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, I think there was only one in my primary school, and we all pitied them because they weren't allowed Christmas. We had like, I went to like a weird Montessori school in middle school, and I think that's why, because it wasn't like, I think that's why they preferred it, because it was like not necessarily affiliated with the government and also not a different religion. Like, there were at least 3 families of JWs at my middle school, and I felt bad for them because like they all got hit at home, on top of not getting Christmas. But yeah, they were. I was friends with most of them. It was only later in life that I was like, oh wow, you were not having a great time. But fortunately, I don't think they'll ever find my content, um, unless they're like Pimo. My dad is generally pretty chill, but he has a vitriolic hatred for JWs because of being forced to watch a young girl die because her parents refused a blood trans. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that happens a lot. They were always kind of wary about me for a similar reason because my mother needed a blood transfusion when she was having me. And they were like, I don't like that. The weird thing is, like, you can find, like that came later on in the development of, like, the religion. So, like, you can find old sources from, like, early Jehovah's Witness, like, publishing that talks about, what do you call it? Like, blood transfusions being like a medical miracle. It's like how before the moral majority movement, which was primarily like a race thing, you could find like pretty much every Christian organization and religion was like, yeah, abortion is fucking awesome. Except for the Catholic, like the Catholics were the only ones that were like, no. Um, Like there are like Southern Baptist publications talking about how great abortion is for like the rights of women and their ability to serve God and that sort of thing. And everyone has forgotten that. Doesn't the Bible give advice on how to do an abortion? I think it at least has like a description of a primitive method. Would I follow it? Absolutely not. It would be like following that uh the ancient Egyptian advice to use crocodile dung as a contraceptive. Which, I mean, I suppose if you die of a lethal infection, you don't have children, but I feel like that's kind of a hack. Anyway, have you ever seen those videos of that Australian guy who just like melts down copious amounts of copper? Would you like to? Uh, why am I over here? There we go. Let's see. Let's add a what is it? Window capture. I'm sorry, everything's broken. There we go. I love melting metals. I just bought a new crucible to melt scrap in. That's so cool. Let's see. I think we can get to it from here. This looks like it. This is such a, like, this is so cute. So this is generally like the video format. Like, he goes to the scrapyard. There's an entire bin. Oh, look at this here, copper. I want the red one. It's like a little kid. That's adorable. I want you, Bubby. Bubby, I want the red one. She's heavy. But yeah, so like, just because of the way they work, motors are just filled with copper wire. Just buy some mercury. It comes pre-melted. That's true. That's the thing, though. Like, what's it called? That's the thing about mercury is, like, half the time it'll be like, oh, mercury's super deadly, and there was that one woman who got, like, the special mercury on, like, double gloved hands, and it seeped through and gave her, like, infinity death disease. And then you'll see shorts of, like, I'm gonna put my whole ass hand in mercury. Like, fucking, if I go to YouTube, if I open up another tab, flashbang. What happens if we look up mercury? We get Freddie Mercury. Yeah, look at this stuff.
Mercury's special because it's the only metallic element that's
It's like a
liquid
Nile
at
Red,
standard
just
temperature and pressure.
molesting it.
Its elemental symbol is Hg because it's based on its older and much harder to pronounce name. It used to be called hydrargyrum, which is the combination of the two Greek words hydror and argyros, which mean water and silver. The density of mercury is really high, so the small amount that I have here weighs a surprising 2.5 pounds. It's significantly denser than most other metals, so if we add something like a coin, it should float on top.
Oh, look at it. It just floats up there.
Its melting/freezing point is around negative 39 degrees Celsius, so if we go below this, it's going to freeze solid. As it warms back to room temperature, it'll start melting, which I think looks pretty cool. It has a relatively low boiling point for a metal at only around 360 degrees Celsius. This makes it somewhat easy to purify by distillation, but I really don't recommend doing that, especially at home like I did, because it can be pretty dangerous.
Hey, don't boil mercury.
If something went wrong and boiling mercury spilled everywhere, it would be a disaster to say the least. Because of strong metallic bonding forces between mercury atoms, it has a really high surface tension. I don't want to go into much detail, but this causes the surface of the mercury to be drawn into itself in a way to minimize its surface area, ideally forming a sphere. In larger amounts, this isn't as noticeable because the effect of gravity is eventually the effect of surface tension sphere, and this is taken advantage of to make various mercury-based electrical switches, the tilt switch. If it's tilted in the right direction, the mercury will complete the circuit, turning on a light bulb or whatever the system is set up for. Mercury doesn't normally exist as a metal in nature, and it's usually where it forms alloys with other metals. Probably the most common example of this is the amalgamation of aluminum. Aluminum is normally surrounded by a protective oxide layer, but the mercury disrupts this and exposes fresh aluminum to the air.
Demons!
The aluminum quickly reacts and forms aluminum oxide, which grows as these white fibers. This releases the mercury from the amalgam, which can then go on to combine with more aluminum and continue the cycle. Even if all the visible mercury is cleaned up, some of it has seeped into the aluminum and it can continue to destroy it. This is the reason why you're completely banned from taking any amount of mercury onto an airplane. I posted a video last week that covers this process in more detail, and if you're interested in checking it out, there's a link
I'm going to dissolve the airplane.
in the description. In chemistry, this amalgamation cycle is commonly
Mercury
used
gaming.
for reductions. A small amount of mercury can continually expose fresh aluminum, which really likes to donate electrons. Metallic mercury isn't actually the best for this type of reaction though, and usually a more soluble mercury salt is used instead. Personally, I did this before in my process to make 1-octen-3-ol, which is a chemical attractant for biting insects. It's also used for a lot of other reactions, including some illegal ones, like the production of MDMA. Besides aluminum though, mercury amalgamation is generally quite useful, and it's commonly used to do things like extract gold from gold ore, or to make dental fillings. In the future, I'm going to make a video, or maybe a series of videos, that's specifically dedicated to mercury amalgams. Anyway, in terms of toxicity, mercury metal isn't that dangerous. This is mostly because it doesn't absorb through our skin very well, and it also isn't super reactive. To really demonstrate this, Cody over
They're just molesting it. They're getting in there. They're feeling the mercury titty. God, can you imagine the pressure that must feel like? Like, it must feel like putting your hand at the bottom of a pool. Just because of how heavy it is. And it's like, it's just pressing on you. Do not fist the
Cody's
mercury.
lab put his entire hand into mercury. Unfortunately though, I don't have nearly as much as he does, so I can only submerge a couple fingers. Although it isn't too toxic, it is important to thoroughly wash my hands afterwards, just to make sure there's no mercury left behind. It might be surprising, but the most dangerous thing about mercury metal
You know what they say, 2 in the pink and 1 in the mercury.
is actually the vapor. The vapors are normally invisible, but we can see them if we blast them with some UV light.
But yeah. Anyway, we're buying motors. Make sure you trim your nails properly before... You can always tell who the mercury fuckers are because they've got those 2 trimmed fingernails. Wow. Country Australia. Conversations overheard in ancient Rome. Why does my thermometer tell me how to feel? Surely I can go outside and experience the weather and form my own opinions. Look at all that metal. I wonder how much of a faux pas it would be to let you know how. Okay, this might only be an American thing, but you know how sometimes when you go to the grocery store and they've got like fresh sweet corn, like in the big piles, they'll have like the garbage can next to it because people pre-shuck their corn. And understandably so. I'm not going to pay for the husk. I do the same thing with cabbage. Like, I pull off the top few leaves because I'm like, I'm not going to buy those. I'm not going to eat them. Those are the peel. I wonder how much of a faux pas it would be to, like, go to the scrapyard and pre-shuck your motor. Yeah, then you've got to... It's in, like, this soft metal casing. So you've got to hammer it out. And then there's all this other stuff.
Some
That you've gotta,
people
like,
are more bottom
Extract.
than others.
Whoa. That's a lot of crucibles. The man is constructing a doohickey. He is unmaking the doohickey. The whole no talking just captions in this video is giving me primitive technology vibes, but like in inverse, very few electric motors on that channel. That's true. Imagine like a channel called Advanced Technology where it's like, today we're going to be building the CERN Super Collider, but it's totally quiet. And it's the same thing. It's one guy, same guy construction, where it's like a guy with like ragged fingernails and black shorts and no shirt, but he's in like Switzerland. Very nice. Bet you could cook some mean eggs if you had a trivet on there and a cast iron. That is, if you didn't melt your pan. But I feel like out here the fire wouldn't be hot enough. You gotta preheat your little billet. What are crucibles made out of? Like, I know it's some sort of ceramic, but like what exactly is like the primary component? that delicious candy bar. Oh, that's right. They make them out of graphite sometimes. I forgot about that. Graphite's a weird material. Like, it's just this weird, like, soft shit that you find in the ground. It's nearly pure carbon. And, like, despite all of its modern uses, we're like, we should call it scratchium. Carbon in general is like something made up in a sci-fi novel. It really is. It's like it's like a super material that somebody would make up in like Dune. It's like, so what does it do? Pretty much everything. When it's soft, you can use it in a pencil, and when it's really hard, it's like the hardest material in the universe. It's also conductive at like low thicknesses, and we burn it for fuel. Oh no, it cracked. You gotta put it back in so it cools slowly. How do you clean the bottom of a crucible? I don't know. I think I've seen sometimes, like, it kind of just, like, detaches from, like, the slag will just detach from the bottom naturally because they're two separate materials. So it kind of just, when it cools, it kind of just, like, plunks out. Like a custard. The fat little dog. Godless creature. Oh god, there's two of them. These are some, like, rigid, not rigid, but, like, these are some durable looking dogs. Is one of the dogs named Ingot? Oh my god. Sturdy dogs. Oh god, it's a fucking genetic dead end. It can't even walk right. The other one's bullion. That's adorable. What are we doing here? Oh, we've got to go out and do some Australian gardening. Gotta move the rocks around. Just friggin' busy lately. Taking a Zen garden for better castings. I would believe it. Like, I feel like if there are Zen schools that are like combat art is a method of enlightenment, you could make an argument that like casting metal is good for escaping samsara. What a waste of water. Sometimes in Australia, it's not a matter of like making the grass green. It's a matter of making sure there's a buffer around your house so it doesn't catch fire. Because so much of the natural greenery is very, very flammable. Like, Australian trees, just as a rule, are exceptionally flammable objects. They will burst into flames if prompted. As well, the idea of wasting water is forward to me. It literally falls out of the sky 9 days out of 10. Doesn't the eucalyptus can it combusts really easily because like it's filled with eucalyptus oil is super flammable and it's just packed with the stuff. Like if you damage them at all, it just seeps out and it's like I saw a eucalyptus like or like a gum tree that had been like damaged slightly. They fucking bleed. Like just this deep red stuff just pours out of the wound. And apparently it's extremely flammable. But yeah. If you're in an area with a lot of them, I didn't realize this because like I've never been in a place with a lot of eucalyptus trees. But when I was in South Australia with Vivi, and not in like the super urban built up city of Sydney, when you're in an area with a lot of eucalyptus trees, you can smell it. Like there's just kind of this like omnipresent, like vague eucalyptus undertone that's not unpleasant, but it's just there when you go outside. Certain areas of California. Yeah, my mother is like super like respiratorily allergic to eucalyptus trees. But because my grandfather was in the military, they got to, at one point he was promoted so high that he got the opportunity to decide where he would be stationed, which is like a super big deal in the military. That's usually done for you automatically. And my grandmother, who's from San Francisco, basically like stepped on his foot and said, "We're going to the Presidio," which is like the military base in San Francisco, which also has the only cemetery in the entire city, because land prices are so expensive. That there's a secondary city like an hour away outside of like San Francisco called Cariopolis, which is called the City of the Dead because it is like 90% cemetery. But anyway, on the Presidio, my mother would go out and play in the eucalyptus trees and come home almost like heaving to death. Metal soup. The place is definitely cursed. So here's the thing. People do live there, though, which is the thing. Like, it does have a living population. I think a lot of them are employed in, like, funerary services, though, so it's funny. It's like the entire economy of this town is, like, being a place for dead people. One interesting thing about aluminum is that
Gaming.
despite the fact that it is like one of the most common metals by weight in the Earth's crust, there was a period, it's really hard, the way that it's refined out is really weird, and it took us a long time to figure out. So there was a period where we had discovered aluminum, but we weren't very good at refining it. And as a consequence of that, aluminum was like super rare and like doesn't it require electricity? I think so. I think it requires like weird electricity shit. But there was a time where aluminum was like a luxury metal because we were like, this is because it has properties that are really weird. There was aluminum jewelry. I think Napoleon had aluminum cutlery for like fancy guests, and there was an aluminum capstone for the Washington Monument. Like, the top of the Washington Monument had like a little aluminum pyramid. And then, like, 6 years later, they were like, we have found out how to refine aluminum. It is now, like, so cheap, we're gonna throw it away. But yeah, there was just this weird period of time where aluminum was, like, it was the shit. I think at one point Napoleon was also trying to figure out how to have like mass-produced aluminum armor. Because like aluminum, despite the fact that we have this idea in our minds that it's like kind of weak because it is quite soft. But in terms of like strength to weight ratio, it's actually like really good. Also, hello Rin. Nice to meet you. Thank you for the stretch. People back then would definitely say buy aluminum. Prices can only go up mere days before it became widely available. I own stock in aluminum futures. Listen, as your homeless stock investing recommender, all I can say is can of bean futures are up. Also, we are going to have an ad in 3 minutes. I put this in the chat earlier, but I have ads set to run automatically now. We will have 3 minutes of ads every 1 hour. I'm going to take that as an opportunity to stand up and walk around. Because that is an important thing to do for the healthy. So please do not feel worried that you will miss out on anything. I will do my best to always pause the interesting things on stream during ad breaks. media effects rather than. Yeah, like someone actually discovers alchemy that lets you turn base metals into gold. Like some Appalachian farmer discovers that like if you mix like battery acid, aluminum, and borax, some sort of weird chemical reaction that overcomes the strong nuclear force occurs, and it produces a small lump of gold. Instantly, all of the financial markets on Earth crash. The big secret stock market doesn't want you to know how to turn lead into gold with 3 easy steps. Oh, we gotta pause that. The ad's gonna start, and that's good content. Disney's Mulan. Is this a popcorn bucket? All right, we're gonna go on. Hold on. Welcome back, everybody. Hello. How were the ads? Did anyone get any cool ads? I should really pull up like a secondary like a secondary unturboed account or something where I can watch them, because ads fascinate me. Also, in the interest of full disclosure, I would like to let you know I do profit from the ads, to the point where, with the amount of ads that we run, I actually receive the majority of the profit from them. So they do support the channel significantly. Anyway, let's watch Metal. This is like some early YouTube content. Didn't get an ad somehow? You don't always get an ad. Why is it so flatulent? I don't know. This poor ice block is just getting absolutely destroyed. You look very polite. I like to think of myself... Wait, hold on. Biff. I like to think of myself as polite. Well, those are now hardened. Does aluminum do that? Getting a bit low on beer. Food processor? This video has taken a turn. Cool socks. Good morning, Pearl. How are you? No free content. Good choice. I also, while I was away, I prepared for myself a cup noodle. Which is currently steeping into its delicious chunky tea. Inverted canine. Because growing up in the UK, I have an instinctive reaction to seeing someone with a national flag pinned up of, oh god, I hope they're not racist. So, one interesting thing is that, like, so... I will say it is a little bit unusual. So, like, America is, like, flag, flag, flag on everything, flag everywhere, flag. you rarely see Australians with like private flagpoles that display the Australian flag like you do in America. Like, this is a little bit more normal. I did learn recently that apparently, like, so like the Australian flag isn't necessarily considered racist. However, unfortunately, getting a tattoo of just the Southern Cross bit is a habit of the racially motivated. It's like a white Australia thing. Is this NASCAR? What was the incident? I deleted my I deleted my entire stream profile in OBS. So I have to rebuild everything. I assume it's the Australian equivalent of NASCAR. Is there an Australian equivalent of NASCAR? I don't know. I'm not really into racing sport. I don't know anything about it. I am, like, car illiterate. I hope we get to see the copper bars shined up. Oh, where are we going? Oh, this is like... Oh, this is like deep Australia, because they've got like the things over the car park so your car doesn't turn into a 1,000,000-degree oven. Also, Kalibi, I feel like you'd be proud of this, but there was a time when I was in South Australia that I was seeing my friend Wayward, and Wayward has a car, so we were getting into that, and I knew it was going to happen at some point because there was like a day that was 1,000,000 degrees. And he points at the seatbelt buckle and he goes, "Hey, touch that." I felt accepted. For those of you who don't know, there is an Australian practice that is apparently referred to as branding, where you will take the buckle of a seatbelt when you just get in a car that's been sitting out in the Australian sun, and you'll go to your friend and you'll kind of like tap them with it. To give them a little shock, shall we say. Yeah, I don't know what state this guy's in. We might get some clues, though. Okay, this is... Gaming. Given the price tag, I think this is a Woolworths? I think this is Woolies. Ooh, cheeky cabanossi. Yeah, this is Woolies. I will buy 1 onion. Lifesavers tingles? What are those? Alan's red frogs changed the name, the shape. I like them less now. Oh, what happened? Like, what's the difference? I've never had a red frog. This is very old YouTube now, just a guy filming himself doing random shite. Yeah. Wait, is that a Mitre 10 across the street? Oh, it's like I'm back home. Oh, I miss Australia so much. Oi! Settle down. Also removed green frog, saddest day of my life. Oh no! They're much smaller now. Scam! I really like cabanossi, but I can't get it in America. It's like this long, like, kind of cheap kielbasa-esque sausage that's very red, and it comes in very long links. Yesen isn't done enough. It's raw. Cheeky sausage sizzle. Mm. I'm gonna have some noodle. It looks like a giant hot dog. It is a giant hot dog, it's just a little bit better. I think the last time I had cabanossi, it was I had a couple of bites in the Gay Hotel back in Sydney. I bought a cabanossi package from the Aldi. Looks good enough to eat. That's a big ant. Ooh, delicious brass. I can't stop sneezing. Oh boy, we get to see the shiny metal. Look at that. Shiny metal. I think he has like a goal that he's trying to reach in terms of like raw weight. A trypophobia ingot. Big ass ants remind me of living in Kenya. Once went camping whilst I was there and was set up in a ant's nest. Oh my god. You've lived in Kenya? That's cool. I think, there it is. Look at that. Yeah, he's trying to get to 1 ton of metal. Actually, he's almost there. Holy shit. There's so much. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, there's so much of it. He's got the fucking pirate metal room. This is a new addition since I last watched this guy. What's the most recent big stacked video? Huge teardown for free copper motor melting farm find. The Joker t-shirt. Oh my god. That's a magpie. Full metal burger. Love the contrast between this competent, experienced Australian man methodically refining metal and I did a thing repeatedly making everything a gun by accident. How is I did a thing doing?
How you going? Line.
Gunblade. Homemade jet engine. Fish boat.
How you going? You ever seen the Space Shuttle Challenger launch? It was sick and successfully launched 7 astronauts.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Do you guys know that the teacher on the space shuttle was basically there as a replacement? Because one of the initial plans was to put Big Bird on the Challenger shuttle, but his size was not conducive to being launched into space. Which is convenient, because I feel like it would have been really hard for the teachers of America to explain to children, because everyone saw it on television. The teachers of America to explain to children why Big Bird had just died in a sudden immolation. Hi, Siennis. Long time no see. How you doing? But yeah, Big Bird was supposed to be on the Challenger mission. Gex from PS2's dad died on the Challenger? What? What does that mean? That's a string of words. That's not even a sentence. Huh? You need to explain. Big Bird, big boom. Simple as.
Into the sky.
Gex's
And I want to
dad
do
died
that
on the
with a
Challenger.
jet engine on a
What does
swing.
that mean?
But I don't have enough space to do all the big dumb projects I want to do.
Beautiful cinematography.
Until now. And I've bought my dream house. And even paid extra to get a kitchen,
Oh my
2
god.
bathrooms.
Oh, he bought a
Classy.
shit box.
And look at all this space. It's such a liberating feeling being able to chuck a rock anywhere you want. Where the only thing I have to worry
God,
about
look at this
hitting is an
shit
endangered
box
bird.
like an
I
hour
own that
outside of
tree,
Parramatta.
And that tree, and that tree, this log, and even this poo. And this 100 acres of pristine Aussie bush is filled with beautiful animals and plants, and also has more than enough room for a jet engine on a swing. Which might just burn the whole place down. So despite
Jesus
what people
Christ.
say, making a jet engine is actually pretty easy. See this jar with a hole in the top? It's not only a flashlight, but a jet engine. Don't believe me? Watch. Alright, you're just gonna have to believe me. And that's the simplest version, and then the jars
just gonna
get more and more complicated, like this and this. But despite how much these
What the
people will
fuck?
try to convince you, no one actually knows how they work. And all these scientists, they're just going along with it, because they don't want to seem dumb and ask the wrong questions and lose their job. Which is why I'm not going to complicate things and get anyone fired, and just make a pulse jet, which is essentially a metal version of this broken jar. You have the combustion chamber here, which when the gas ignites, it pushes out here and here. But because the gas takes longer to come out of this section, it pulses back in or something and the ignition continues for some reason. And this unexplainable process gives you heaps
This
of power,
unexplainable
like enough
process.
to become a Nazi and bomb England from over 400 k's away, which is perfect for me. So I'm
Oh
going
my
to copy
God.
famous Englishman Colin Furze, as his pulse jet
This guy
is
has
fairly
Baltic
simple,
energy.
but I've decided to
finished Fool.
upscale
How's
my
it going?
design by exactly 1%, just so I can say it's bigger than his.
No need.
Also, I haven't figured out the swinging part yet. I'll just work that out later. Alright, I started by cutting out this 1.6mm sheet metal, which for those following along at home is this big. But now I have to turn this flat piece into a round section. And the first piece didn't go well.
That is not going to line up.
Neither did the second. But after using the vise, I eventually got this, which I tacked together. Then I cut out and rolled these tailpipe sections, which
Never
was a
give an
little hard.
Australian a welder.
And you dig that. Yes. Yes. I'm fine.
And eventually I got this together by using the most ratchet of straps to pull it. So after tacking it together, I need to weld everything up. And after doing a practiced weld on some scrap to make sure I don't screw it up,
Oh no.
Good?
I'm good to go. And this was a lot of welding, and really made me realize how bad I am at following plans. I don't think I ever successfully welded a piece first go, and it was a long process of welding and cutting my own welds and putting them back down, and then using a hammer to persuade the pieces into place. And eventually I got these two pieces, and a mad welding tan. So after I ground down one of the edges on the missile-shaped piece, I welded it to the trumpet piece. And nothing I do comes together
thinking this
without
guy's
gaps.
shirtless would seem
But the
so
good
awesome
thing
to me.
about having
Sometimes
the
he is
worst welds
shirtless.
on the internet is that I can just fill the gaps with more ugly welds, and no one expects
I
anything
thought it was a
less.
Kiwi. Could be wrong.
But
No,
I'm
he's
pretty
Australian.
happy. The welds are mostly solid, except for here where
Is
I
a
welded
fair
around my
dinkum true
thumb.
blue Aussie.
And also the whole thing is slightly off center, but it shouldn't matter. Now I just need to run the fuel line. So I got this pipe and welded a bolt in the end to make it airtight, then drilled some holes to make it air loose for the gas to come out. But these aren't randomly placed holes. They are very special. I'm hoping that if I put the holes in the same direction as the nozzle, when I crank up the gas, it will pull in the air in a phenomena called the Vitruvian Man, which will ignite and hopefully self-start and eliminate me needing a leaf blower like all these idiots. Like Colin Furze has made over 10 of these pulse jets and never made a self-igniting one, which is just embarrassing. And there you go, the pipe should be in the center of the inlet, which it looks like it is. So it's time to give it a first go, and I'm slightly concerned that the pulse jet might
this
just
is a
melt
joy.
itself as it's only made out of mild steel. If I was a better welder, I would have made it out of stainless steel, just like this beautiful card from Revolut. Revolut is an all-in-one financial super app designed to simplify your money.
My welds aren't the best. I can see sunlight coming through. Ready? Yep.
That was weird.
And nothing happened.
Oh,
Okay, turn it off.
it says like maybe a safety shutoff.
So we removed the pesky safety valve put in by the government to throttle your Saturday night barbecue
You know, the Odyssey was
experience
written
and
before the
tried
Greeks
again
had a word for
with
blue.
just a
Yes, they
sparkler
call
in
the sea
combustion
wine
chamber.
dark.
Yeah, it's in there. Whoa. Raise it more.
More.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, turn it up.
And it's not self-starting, so we tried with a leaf blower.
Surname is Apollonov. The Baltic thing is probably not too far off. I know his best friend, Alexa. He is like from the Balkans.
and it started to rumble but still wouldn't kick. And I think my holes are the problem, or the lack of them. So I drilled some more and turned it perpendicular to the inlet and welded that in. I also fixed some of the leaking holes in the combustion chamber. And I do owe Colin an apology. I've also failed to make a self-starting pulse jet engine. You're not an idiot, we both are. I'm still convinced you're making a sex dungeon under your house though.
It started.
I heard it.
It
I
started.
got scared. I turned it off.
Try.
Wait, what do I do when it's at that sound?
When it actually goes boom, you'll say I'll move away. Leave it for like a second unless it like flies. If it starts to move, turn it
If
off.
it starts to move,
If it starts to move, turn it
No, if
off.
it starts to
Do you have a favorite Baltic country? What,
Whoa,
out of
that
the
was it.
three?
I don't like it.
It
I don't like it.
Oh.
I don't like it.
You saw it move?
Yes.
All right. We're going to look at the Baltic countries. There are 3 of them. So Latvia and Lithuania, they get points for being the last speakers of a genuine Baltic language. Estonia gets points for speaking Estonian. And also having cheap alcohol for Finns to enjoy. Timo does not recognize Gotland independence. You're damn right I don't. I feel like I would lean towards Estonia. Just because I like their vibe. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Something, just so you know. Automod saw 1488 and was like, You were accidentally friends with the Harry Potter Nazi. Oh my god. That's crazy. Incredible. Only you.
And that time it sounded like it was about to go, but my housemate was too scared and kept
Also,
turning
wait,
it off.
you were on
so
Harry
I got back
Potter
my mate who
forums?
doesn't care as much about
Huh?
safety and gave it another go.
That is fucked. That is so loud. That is fucked.
Jesus Christ.
Stop running that. Holy.
Yeah.
Too loud.
And we only had that on for a couple of seconds, but it was still the loudest thing my poor ears and neighbors' ears have ever had come inside them. It also made me stim for some reason. It was around 140 decibels, which is louder than a pattern reason. Neighbors' ears have ever
Jet engine that gives you autism.
had come in 40 decibels, which is louder than a passenger plane taking off right here on my deck. And the simplicity of this is beautiful. No moving parts, just sheet metal in the shape of a trumpet with a barbecue gas bottle. There is really no reason for every man, woman and child watching right now not to go and make one of these. They are seriously the most fun you can have as a 14-year-old living in a crowded urban neighborhood. But
Oh,
I
shit,
reckon if I
Chad,
ran this
we
any
gotta do
longer, the
it.
cops would come and take it for themselves to play with. So I'm stopping. Alright, I don't want to continue
massive Harry Potter teen before the unpleasantness.
Using sparklers to ignite this thing, I want to feel more fancy and have buttons. And I could use an ignition coil to light it, but I thought it would be more fun to use a taser. And here's a hot tip for you kids. Tasers are illegal in Australia, but you can still buy them. They're just called cattle prods, which is illegal unless you have animals to prod. But in all seriousness, I'm getting chickens on the property, so I'm going to need this. So all I did was bypass the battery and switch it of the taser and connect it to this relay. And now when I press this button, it should work.
Yep.
And kids, once again, this is the perfect setup if you want to make a bomb. And then weld it in the spark plug.
This is the great thing about being a bad welder. We can hook cables onto them. Look at that.
Oh my
When I
god.
press this, we should hear it go off. Why do I hear gas? We should see this go off. Yes. Yeah.
You imagine pressing a button that you think is connected to something entirely different? Why do I hear gas?
Yes.
Alright, now if I'm sitting on the jet engine, I can turn the gas on and off. But what happens if I fly off? Or even worse, what if my clothes fly off? Then I won't have a way to stop the jet engine from flying out of control.
No,
So I'm gonna
Chad,
make it
cover your
wild.
eyes.
So I bought this solenoid and this brass fitting that precisely don't fit my gas pipe. So I just welded it.
That does not work.
And I melted the brass. So instead I cut off some hose and stuck that on the end as an adapter, which works nicely. And now I also have the world's first lockable childproof bong.
What's this?
What do you mean?
Alex, I thought we said you wouldn't have any more drug paraphernalia in the house.
I didn't make it.
Alex, this is in the garage.
I did
you
not.
Said you were not. Gonna
I
have
did
this in
not
here.
make this.
What do you mean?
I didn't make it. He made it.
Is this true? He did it.
He did it. And now when I press this button, gash it. And this is weird.
The most
I can hear
impressive
it,
thing about
but
these
I can't
videos
see
is
it.
that they're
So either there's a
engineering
snake in the pipe,
sheer
or the guy
density
gave
of
me invisible
genuinely good
gas.
joke. Yeah, it's so good. All bongs should be childproof.
Okay,
They
the
should.
ignition works well. And after pissing off
Every 6 months, you have a government employee come over to inspect your bong safe to make sure it's locked up and in a separate safe than the weed.
everyone in the neighborhood with the noise of this thing, you'd think I'd stop here. But no, I want to be in a Neighbours from Hell episode. So I'm going to make a thrust augmenter. And it's a funnel thing that goes on either one of the exhausts, and for some reason it's meant to add more thrust. But again, it's one of those things in the rocket world where people say it works, but no one can tell me how. Like, if this actually worked, surely I could just stack another augmenter on this
I'm
one,
honestly
and then
amazed that
another,
I did a
and
thing
another,
hasn't
and
been
another,
on
and get
a current
ever-increasing
affair.
thrust. So let's give it a go, but this time not in the suburbs.
It's time for the noise.
Alright, the self-ignition doesn't work, and I can't get it to start with the augmenter, as it's in the way of the blower. So I just cut it off, and gave that a go. Which still didn't work. But then I realised it was because I was out of gas, so I cut off the augmenter for no reason. And after getting a new bottle, we gave it another go. And I have heard whispers on the internet that if I tip the gas bottle upside down, something magical will happen.
Oh no. Oh
And that liquid propane really makes it sound angry. And seems
no. Oh
like it
no,
increases
it's
the thrust.
just the
Doing it at
liquid
night
coming
seems to
out.
help the
Oh
thrust as well.
no. Me and the boys taking the danger trumpet for a spin. Goodbye, truck windows. Jesus. Oh, it's glowing. Oh my god.
Now, it's time to move the pulse jet to the top of the hill.
Okay, just do not hit a tree, otherwise your head is gone.
Alright, now to work out the swing. And this can't be like your mum's sex swing. I need it to not fall apart under my weight. And originally I wanted to build 2 A-frames and have the swing on that, but I don't trust my welding enough. So I'm going to use God's A-frames, trees, which are super strong and don't fall over. And these two are in the perfect position, with a clearing on this side, and on the other side, a nice bushy cliff covered in dry grass. So I got this pipe, which has walls 3mm thick, and secured it in place with these bearings, which I definitely remembered to put on the pipe the first time. And I don't know if these bearings are strong enough, but I also don't care. Then I just welded some arms on the top of the engine with support running to the frame, which is made out of steel, as I've heard it's good at holding up against jet fuel. And the reason I need the extra support is if I just secure it on the top like this, I'm sure that spinning jet engine will just peel itself apart. So instead I have the arms running to the frame and then the frame running all the way to the bottom. Then also just reinforced all the welds while also making sure I keep the camera in a way where it doesn't reveal the location of my property to any of you freaks. Alright, now to see if it fits. Location of my property
Nice.
to any of you freaks. Alright, now to see if it fits. Which it does if I leave my car here, but now I'm stuck.
What are we going to do? Deflate the tyres.
I think we'll deflate the tires.
Let's see.
We're free.
The Australian space program, everyone.
And if I just tried to run it like this, I don't think it would do 360s.
Gotta
as
head
it would
to
probably
work.
just
Okay,
get to
Luna,
like
have a good time at
45
work.
degrees and then just stop. So originally I thought I could get like 5 meters of spear gun rubber and slingshot it to start it off. But then I realized I should just copy what I did in my intro and put a counterweight on top so it really wants to spin.
Too much leverage when you lift your arms out.
Maybe if I go like...
And if you guys have never experienced having a steel pole in between your cheeks while also holding 20 kilos above your head, you definitely have to try it. It's a
Oh, this is
fantastic
great.
feeling. When I got down though, we realized we could have just rotated the jet to put the weights on. Also, I realized another thing about the spinning I didn't consider. When the jet engine is upside down, it's going to run on liquid propane. So it'll be cycling between liquid and gas, giving it a lot more thrust, but will also put a lot of stress on the solenoid, which is not meant to run on cold liquid propane, which means it could blow up or get stuck in the open position, which is why I got rid of the Chinese solenoid and switched it with this beefy one. And it being Chinese has nothing to do with it, this one just has a bigger hole. Then I just bolted on a chair for me to sit on and put the
What?
electronics in a box. And it's done. And after a visit to the car park
Oh, it's
of an
the
event
next step.
cinema movie theater, I should have enough fire extinguishers to do the first test. But just to be sure we don't burn everything down, we also stole the neighbor's generator and made a firefighting setup. And there's nothing left but to do it. And this is probably the most scared I've
that's
ever
good.
been
At least they're
before
being
turning
safe.
on one of my
I
dumb
mean,
devices.
Quote unquote
So what's
safe.
our plan? Our plan is do it, and we're both running just and hiding behind that tree.
Yeah, behind that tree there.
And it wouldn't start, even though nothing has changed since we did the other tests. So we tried different sized gas bottles, thinking that that could have been the issue. And we also tried moving the bottle position around.
Fire in the hole! What did that happen?
And even though we got it started once, it wouldn't stay on. So we tried a couple more times.
I don't know, is this a good idea?
But then called it a night and decided to try again in the morning with a plan. So in the morning we got up and went to a car dealership and installed a TV for them.
We did a much better job at this than the jet engine. First go. Of course, yeah.
Then once we had done
Why-
that, we tried the jet engine.
What was that about? Doing a civic duty and starting forest fires.
Again.
Why?
Which still wouldn't work. But then we realized that the solenoid was probably the problem. As you know how earlier I said that nothing had changed from our stationary test before? One thing did, the length of this hose, which doesn't seem like it would make a difference, but because it's shorter now, there might be less resistance on the solenoid and the gas can pass through easier. So we did something you're definitely not meant to do and put a kink in the gas pipe, which will
Oh,
hopefully
boy.
build up more pressure and force the solenoid to open all the way. that was the best so far, but I want
That
it to
was
spin
promising.
for as long as we tell it to. So we crimped the hose a little harder and gave it another go.
That's terrifying. Jesus Christ. How much propane do you think they've gone through?
And that worked so much better than I could have
Wait, so he
ever
just confidently
hoped.
makes normal
Nothing
things
broke,
by
blew
emergence
up, or
ruined,
got
right?
burnt, and it spun continuously until we switched it off. So we tried again, but this time with the bottle fully tilted so it runs on liquid for longer.
Am I Mr. Sparkler?
Sparkle. That's been the magic touch, so let's keep with it.
And that was significantly louder and faster than the others, but it still wasn't running on liquid the whole time. You could hear it going on and off. And I think it's because it's spinning, the liquid is getting pulled to the bottom edge like water in a bucket and not coming out. So we waited till night and decided to try a new tank with more liquid propane in it and give that a go.
Stop.
Yeah, go.
No, it was spraying liquid propane onto you. Get away from it.
And we
That's
almost
not good.
set ourselves on fire, so we tried again with the bottle at 45 degrees. And then we almost blew the jet engine up.
Oh shit.
So we tried one last time before finally getting the shot
Doing
I
this
wanted.
makes it more terrifying.
Also,
it does.
letting you
'cause
hear
can
the
see
drop
all
of
the
this song.
fire. God, that thing gets so hot.
That initial burst, it almost stopped and there was...
That
And
thing
this
gets
is by
so
far the
hot,
best
and the
thing
way that
I've
it
ever made
turns
and most
the
fun I've
like
ever
the
had filming a video. But there's also
the force would
zero
push your
chance
head
I'm
into the
ever
little
gonna sit on
trombone
this thing.
bend.
Go make a pulse jet, kids, and do it yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If you like that, please subscribe.
Wow. Brass zinc. Imagine just hearing that while camping in a random forest, right? Like you're just walking through the forest. What else are we learning? Hold on, let me check my primary YouTube channel. I'm feeling low energy, so I am in kind of a react Andrew mood. Did you hear? Yes, I did hear about the pyramid scan. Yeah, they did this weird scanning method that is like a high Earth orbit ultrasound of the ground, and they were like, we're detecting motion down there. And they went from like what looks like a spectrogram, and they were like, it's clearly this down there. Look at these things, blah 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 blah. In an Italian press conference. I love when tuning in for a Watch Stuff with Nemo stream. I'm either filled with calm appreciation for the world, its people, and varied cultures, or stoked to an incandescent rage by some pseudoscience nonsense with nothing between those two states. It's noise. It's just noise. It's just noise. Oh, here's another thing that people believe. People think for some reason that the pyramids are like the tips of obelisks. Which, by the way, I learned recently. I might have already told you this on stream. Obelisk is apparently the Greek word for meat skewer. Don't like that, no sir. Yeah, no. So the reason the one in Britain is called Cleopatra's Needle is because the Arabic is needle. Like the Arabic word that they use to describe them is the word for needle. The Greeks saw them and they were like, that looks like a thing you cook meat on. Like, the Greeks came to Egypt and they were like, this thing, I could use it to cook very large pita. What is the Giza's underground system? Egypt Tours portal? Hit me. What is this AI bullshit? Recent study has ignited both enthusiasm and skepticism within the archaeological community as researchers claim to have identified extensive underground complex beneath the pyramids of Giza. Conducted by scholars from the University of Pisa. What? How are we supposed to trust fucking Pisans? They can't even keep a tower straight. You know, some bitch named Dickomedes was telling girls to get on his obelisk. No! That's... Oh my god. Yeah, no, it's not correct. Ooh. Ooh, we haven't checked in on Gaia in a while. Like, since before I left. From the city that brought you Wonky Tower, we now have Egyptians built their monuments underground where no one could see them for some reason. So, the best argument against all of this For some reason, people are obsessed with the idea that the pyramid is somehow like a power plant, like it somehow generates energy. The best argument against that I've ever heard is, well, what was it powering? Like, where are the transmission lines, and where are the Hitachi electric vibrators? Hush up. We'll watch some guy and then we'll wrap up. They were powering their obelisk. Who else up powering the obelisk? They had bees in a jar for that? Oh my god. It's the fucking bee swarm dildo copy pasta. $20 trillion into black budget operations.
It's amazing.
What was that? Hold on. We're going to have an ad. And during that ad, I'm going to go investigate what that sound downstairs was. That's weird. That's weird. Properties. Settings, tree, output. Okay, I think I need to fix that in a different way when stream is over. Sorry about that. We'll learn about some Gaia and then I'll quit stream and I will fix that for the next one.
Amazing. I just, at some point we have to realize that, we've got to just wake up and release these to the general population. I guess that's what your mission here is.
Yes, my main purpose is creating ambassadors to the universe in consciousness and in fact with these civilizations. But to get there, I realized along the way, I kind of got into this effort and started the whole disclosure movement because what I realized was if we make contact with these civilizations, but then covert USAPs shoot them down or do worse things, then we have to do all this together. Excuse the salty language, but when I was sitting with Senator Barry Goldwater, who was the senior senator from Arizona who ran for president in 1964, I was at his home, and Senator Goldwater said, look, it was a goddamn mistake then and a goddamn mistake now that this was ever kept secret. But he told me
they really
he was doing this as a heart over the world.
They really love this guy. I wonder what he gets, like, I wonder how much he has to be paid to be on Gaia.
Could you tell us a little bit about your contact experience with that ET?
That happened in 2011. I was waking up from a dream, and I was basically in my bed, and I could remember this being. I could only see his torso and up to his head. And
you saw sleep paralysis demon. You have a French accent. Your opinion is invalid. What is that? I love the rendering methods that they use. $12,000-year-old underground city connects to 200 other underground cities. Wow, there's so many underground cities. This could solve the housing crisis, guys. You're right. He does wear nice suits. What do we got here? Quantum Links. Who's Greg Braden?
My name's Greg Braden, and I'd like to.
Oh, it's this guy! It's this guy! Greg with 3 G's. I forget what this guy's deal was. Wait, is this the guy who had like that weird like whose dad left him and is like, I've been using spirituality to heal the trauma from my daddy leaving when I was 14. I think it is. This is indeed the guy. Oh, I love my little freaks.
Welcome you to this very special presentation.
Wait, Greg with 3, hold on.
H.H. Gregor is having a summer sale. We've got all the hot new camp amping equipment, such as 10 Hentens, Gasolassel Lan Anaturns, Marsharsha Melmel Roasted Toastos, and Sa Sleepy Bagagos. But how about our Sa Sport Hoarding Goodlingtons? We've got Baskatchewans, Slam Slam Donkey Donkeys, baseballs, and Mititted Catcheroos. We also have a great babatening and tackle-ackle section, for fishing rod oddles, Nanetses, and don't forget Sa Speedening Bodo and Engines. H.H. Gregor, where the temp temperature earns is never hotter than our pricings.
Am I having a stroke? Yes. Consumerism in music technology sucks. I agree, furry. I tend to find many furries have the correct opinion. Others do not. Baseball.
Come on down to H.H. Gregor and check out our newly opened Muse Instrument section. We have stringlings like Electratarinar, Acoustitarinar, Bassy Tasties, Violinal Richie, Chelbos, and Pananios. We also have instruments like Pickalicolos, Big Pippies, the Didgeridoo, and Akadarok Dwayne Johnson Renas. Check out the percussion section where we have Bangy Dangos, Tambo Smackies, Tiffany, Glock and Spaniels, Exlophones, and Marco Shakos. And don't forget about the Brassel Sprouts such as Saxifrax, Tubo, Trampolines, and Trombus the Bone Engine. H.H. Gregor, come in for the instrumentins and leave with the outstrumentins.
Oh my god. So I have to tell you guys a story. The other day, I love me a Chelbo. Furries get such an unfair amount of hate, except for the Nazi furs, who get way less than they should because most people don't know they even exist. True! So true. The other day, I was playing D&D with my friends, and afterwards we were talking about Vivi was like, I want to watch a new episode of Black Mirror. She's never watched one, but apparently there's a new one about like enshittification. And I did the whole thing. I was like, oh, Black Mirror. And then Bakin goes, what if your mum ran on batteries? And I don't know what happened, but I laughed way too hard to the point that I felt like faint. My brain went fuzzy. I had to sit on the ground. I don't know why, but it reset my nervous system. What if your mum ran on batteries? Then cast Tasha's hideous laughter in real life. That's what it's gotta feel like. I lost a turn.
Of Missing Links, the deep truth of our origin,
The
history,
enshittification of Black
destiny, and
Mirror.
fate.
I have never liked
In our
Black
last
Mirror.
episode, we saw.
Apparently, there's some good episodes of Black Mirror, but the ones I have seen are not good. I have a grudge against Black Mirror because during my first year experience class or whatever you want to call it at my university, the culminating event with all the classes together, because there was 4 different classes, was that we watched the episode of Black Mirror where the world is governed by a social media app where you rate other people, and the moral of the story is to just be fine with yourself or something. I can confirm he has told me of the grudge. Some of them are definitely a bit 14-year-old creative writing exercise. You know what Black Mirror is trying to be? Black Mirror is trying to be The Lottery, the short story. How many of you are familiar with The Lottery? At least it's trying, though. I suppose that's true. I made a real bold choice to start with. What if a politician fucked a pig? I've heard of it. Okay, so we all know what The Lottery is. That's good. I don't think it's studied in the UK. It is a very American piece of media, but that is a shame. It is a good short story. It was apparently wildly controversial in its time. Like there were outcries about it because people were like, "You can't just publish this. This is indecent."
The experiments that confirm in the laboratory what ancient and indigenous traditions have told us for thousands of years, that we are literally wired to communicate with our body for health and self-healing. Well, in this episode, what I'd like to do is go beyond the laboratory, beyond theory, to see this quantum link applied in the most intimate levels of life and community. So to illustrate this point, I'd like to share with you a story. It's a deeply personal story for me about a time in my life when I was first exposed to this quantum possibility and what it means for us.
Are you going to talk about your daddy leaving again? Are you going to cry?
My home is in the high deserts of northern New Mexico. It's one of the most beautiful, amazing places remaining in the world today. It is very clean, pristine, and it is the home for a number of indigenous communities. And it was in the early 1990s that an indigenous friend of mine called me on the phone and asked me if I wanted to join him to pray rain in a very, very specific place in the high deserts of northern New Mexico. So a little background here. In the early 1990s, one of the worst droughts in the history of all of the American desert Southwest was happening.
It came out that the Prime
It
Minister
had been
in fact
over
put a stick in a
5
pig.
years since a significant regional rainfall had happened. So at a predetermined time and on a very special day, we met and we hiked across 135,000 acres of the most beautiful, fragrant, high-altitude sage that you can imagine, until we came to a place very similar to what you're seeing on the screen right now, to protect the privacy and the integrity of my friend's traditions. We're not showing the actual site, and I want to be very honest with you about that. But it was a medicine wheel that looked very similar to what you're seeing right now. And this medicine wheel, he said to me, he said, "This wheel has been here for so long." He said, "We don't even know who built this. But every stone of this medicine wheel is in precisely the place where our ancestors placed it and where we maintain it year after year after year, generation after generation after generation. And I asked my friend, and to protect his privacy, I'm going to call him David. It's not his real name. And I asked David, why this place? You know, what's so special about this place?
I'm
Why
not
is the
appropriating
medicine
Native
wheel
heritage
here?
because I have a Native friend.
He said, this
exactly.
is a place where the skin between the worlds is very thin. Where the skin between the worlds is very thin. So he was referring to the veil that we sometimes feel separate.
Where's the foot of the world, where like the skin between like our world and the supernatural is just so thick? Because everywhere's always described as like, oh, the bridge between the worlds is thin here. It's like, no, where's the thick Yorkshire? You know, places of the utterly mundane. Yorkshire, Trent, Slough. Places where the good old laws of physics apply. Oh, I've been fleshing out this bit of like supply teacher from like vaguely like work related British background who has a science education from like the Platonic era, but he's very into science. Right, now, the elements. There's 4 of them, and they combine and make up everything. Now, today we're going to be learning about the alchemical process of putrefaction. But he's just teaching, like, school children in Trent.
Separates us in this world from the possibilities of other worlds. So for whatever reason, whatever anomaly, whether it's a magnetic anomaly or a gravitational anomaly or a climactic anomaly, his ancestors had found that this place was very effective for the time of prayers. So I found myself on that day, this medicine wheel, with my friend David, at the crack between the worlds, during one of the worst droughts in the history of the American desert Southwest. My ears, droughts in the...
What is this thing? What is this, like, radio mast that is in your recording studio?
History of the American desert Southwest.
Is this
My
a light
ears
bouncer, or...
had heard him invite me to pray for rain. That's not what happened. And without the understanding of the previous episodes, what I say next probably wouldn't make much sense. But we have the benefit of those episodes, so let me now share with you exactly
Why are you
what
waving
happened.
around your butt
'Cause I
plug,
wasn't
sir?
prepared for what I saw next. My friend David, he sat in the dirt next to me. He unlaced the shoes of his old work boots, and he stepped into the medicine wheel with just his naked feet on the ground. And he closed his eyes.
No offense to whoever this is, but we couldn't pick a better pair of feet. These look very... These look a little bit dirty.
He created a prayer mudra in front of him just for a few seconds. Just for a few seconds. And then he turned around and he looked at me. And he said, I'm hungry. You want to go for lunch? And I said, well, sure. I said, we can go for lunch. But I said, I thought you invited me here.
In case you weren't
to
familiar
pray
with feet,
for
here's a
rain.
picture.
And this is when he turned and looked at me.
God damn it, we gotta go to the
And
previous
what he
episode.
said changed my life. It changed my perspective and the way
Now, if you haven't bought the other tapes in the series, this may not make sense to you.
I think about my relationship to the world. I'm going to share it with you. Maybe it'll change yours as well. Here's what he said. I said, I thought you prayed for rain. And he said, no. He said, if I prayed for rain, rain could never happen. Because the moment we ask for something to happen in this world, in the asking for, we are affirming that it does not exist now. And I invite you to think about that. When we ask the universe for something, we are implying that whatever we're asking for, or asking about, or asking to appear, or asking to happen, is not present in the moment. And in that way, we are actually affirming in the field the very thing that we were hoping to change. I hope that makes sense. The quantum field that we talked about in the last episode, if you recall, it is the container for all things. It is the bridge between...
I can't take it anymore. Oh my god, that one was painful. That one was like starting to erode some of my synapses. Okay, we got some practical advice here. Let's see what we can do for New Year, New Me, Beachbody Ready.
Biohacking.
Is he saying you should not ask?
It's not just about being well. It's
just
about being
be like,
more than
I
well.
have wait.
Biohacking. It's not just about being well. It's about being more.
Who is that? What are you wearing? What is this like body armor?
Being more than well. It's the power to transform yourself. Are we ready? I'm Dave Asprey, and this is Biohacking. Hi, I'm Dave Asprey, the father of biohacking. And people call me that because this is a new movement.
Hi, I'm afraid of the color blue. You can tell that because I'm wearing blue light glasses, as seen on the David Huberman podcast.
In society, and it's a new word in the English language that I created. In this episode, you're going to learn about fitness and exercise, but they are not what you think they are. And it's not about struggle, it's not about suffering, it's not about forcing yourself to go to the gym with willpower. Turns out that muscle mass is one of the greatest predictors of longevity. So if you have more muscle up to a certain level anyway, you're just gonna live longer because you can handle whatever life brings your way. And I want you to have that. So in this episode, I'm going to teach
What's this little machine?
you how to structure your exercise routine to put on muscle and to lose fat in the least possible amount of time without over-exercising and over-stressing your body. Today, most people either don't exercise at all because they figured out it doesn't work very well, or people exercise all the time. Neither one of those is where you want to be. I want you to get great returns on very small amounts of exercise. Most of us, we're just doing it all wrong. One of the things that's confusing is that
It's weird that this is called biohacking, and then they've gone for like the pipe aesthetic. You daft fuck, muscle mass usually correlates with healthy habits.
exercise is not the same thing as moving around. You can go for a walk with your kids. It's just not exercise. You moved and movement is good for you, and usually more movement is better.
You moved and movement is good for you. Is that not exercise? How is that not exercise? I've expended energy in a productive way. Nemo, the aesthetic is an homage to their sources. Crack pipe.
In order for something to be exercise, it has to cause the body to transform. And that means it must be brief, it must be intense, it must be infrequent, not every day.
And you must look in your mirror and yell, Henshin! In order to initiate it. Look at this fucker over here redefining exercise.
It must be safe and it must be purposeful. And one of the reasons you want to do this is that exercise increases BDNF. That stands for brain-derived nootropic factor. This is the stuff in your brain that gives you a young person's brain. It makes you neuroplastic so you can learn. So if you exercise the way I just described infrequently, you'll have a brain that can adapt better to the world you live in. And when it comes to cardio, people think that cardio helps you lose fat quickly. That's actually not how it works. It's true that having better cardio capacity extends your lifespan. There's a measure called VO2 max, which is how much oxygen your body can use at one time. That is a measure of longevity, but turns out more cardio is not better. You've probably heard people saying, get your 10,000 steps per day in. Well, I was the CTO and co-founder of the first fitness tracker that could get your heart rate from your wrist. And so I went and I looked deep on the data. In the 1950s, a Japanese company, the first company to make a pedometer, invented that 10,000 steps rule so they could sell their tech. There is no scientific evidence behind 10,000 steps per day. That's just marketing. When I weighed 300 pounds, I believe that stuff. I would push myself.
PDF
I made
actually
a
stands for
sacred
bitches do not
commitment
finish.
that I was going to lose the weight. So I went to the gym 6 days a week, no matter what, and I went for 90 minutes a day. 45 minutes of weights, 45 minutes of cardio. I skipped Sundays. I also cut my calories, I cut my fat, and at the end of 18 months of this, 702 hours in the gym, I still had a 46-inch waist. I was still fat, and I could max out most of the machines. But I did know that steady state cardio, the treadmills I like to do, equals wear and tear on your joints and ligaments. Researchers at Yale Medicine found that at least 50% of runners are injured each year, and they think the number may be much higher. Running and chronic cardio teaches your heart to beat faster and to move less blood per beat. But if you're a powerful, healthy animal or human, the healthiest state is to be able to move a lot of blood per heartbeat. So cardio teaches.
That's why I've had my my heart replaced with that of a horse. As the CTO of a wristband company, I'm uniquely qualified to tell doctors they're wrong about exercise. Of course, he didn't lose belly fat. His ass was on a treadmill. You gotta be. I feel if you were cutting calories and all of that, I feel you would have lost more weight than that if you were being honest. Because like something like 80% of actual weight loss is just diet. Like you can do basically no exercise as long as you're in a technical calorie deficit. You will lose weight because your body is like, well, I've got to get the energy somewhere.
Your heart to go blip, blip, blip. And if you do weight training and appropriate types of cardio, not the long distance cardio, in a single heartbeat, you can transform your blood flow. So cardio doesn't equal strength. It also turns out we like to believe that doing more.
What do you mean cardio doesn't equal strength? Of course it doesn't. That's why it's not strength training.
Of something gives us better results. But what the body really listens to is what I call slope of the curve inputs. What that means is that if you can turn on a stressor, like sprinting or picking up something heavy, if you can do that very quickly to the point of exhaustion and then recover faster than Mother Nature would expect, then you're sending this beautiful signal into the body that says, a tiger might have eaten you, that's why you did something hard, but now you're really safe because you returned to baseline quickly. So that's a signal to change. And as long as you had your minerals, as long as you had your protein, and you had your fat, your body has what it takes, and the signal, you put those together.
My minerals, like cocaine.
As long as you had you get rapid transformation. As an example, we know that high intensity interval training works well in less time. We used to think just go for a run for an hour. But now we understand that if you were to do 5 1-minute sprints with a break in between, you get better results in less time, but it's still miserable. Well, using AI, you can figure out
Here it is.
exactly what curve causes humans to change the most, and the results ought to upset you. It turns out that if you use AI, you come up with something called Rehit, which is a core technology behind my fitness franchise that's opening across the country. Rehit stands for Reduced Exertion High Intensity Training. In this kind of training, it's 2 20-second sprints without sweating over a 5-minute period. If you do that 3 times a week, 15 minutes per week, that's as much time as you spend brushing your teeth, you improve your cardiac capacity by 12%. If you did an hour a day, you would improve by 5%. Rehit.
But only if only if you use AI.
It improves insulin sensitivity and it increases your VO2 max, which is the core fitness for cardiovascular capacity. But 15 minutes a week of that kind of exercise, which requires no sweating, will increase your VO2 max by 12%, which is equal to about 2 years of healthy lifespan. If you were to do an hour a day of chronic cardio, you would improve by 2%. 6 times more results in 15 minutes versus an hour a day of suffering on a spin bike. That is why this episode is so important for you. You probably don't go to the gym enough, and if you do go to the gym, you might go too much, but you just learned a way to get 6 times better results in the amount of time you spend brushing your teeth. This is what AI and tech is doing. This is why biohacking is so important. The technical details of Rehit is that you're causing very rapid
Why did we need AI for that? Couldn't we just, like, that's just a spreadsheet thing.
depletion of something called glycogen in your cells. This is the carbohydrate storage. And that releases signaling molecules, including PGC1 alpha, which is a sign that your body exercised, and something called AMPK. And this tells your cells to make more energy producing mitochondria. This works best with the AI bike that I use at Upgrade Labs, but you can do it at home. To get the full details on how to do Rehit at home for free, go to daveasprey.com. It's all there for you. There's another way to speed up a cardio workout, and I do it sometimes. I strap on a mask and I inhale.
This guy is doing Parasite Eve. He wants more mitochondria. Remember in ancient times they used AI to stay fit and hunt animals? Exactly.
Inhale pure oxygen to get more energy and more exercise in less time. Studies show that breathing hyperoxic air enables higher intensity training, and it creates significant improvements in power output compared to breathing regular air. This is another hack that you may have available to you, and these biohacks will become part of how we transform ourselves over the next 10 years. You just get early access because you're here on this episode.
So wait, are you telling me grandma on her oxygen tanks because she smoked too much? I just need to steal those in order to get my gains?
So let's talk about resistance training. Inside your muscles, you have something called proprioceptors, and these are little
This guy's voice sounds like an evil Adam Ragusa.
Networks of intelligence that your muscles use to know where they are in space and what's safe. So your muscle has its own brain. Your elbow has.
Wait, what area? Hyperoxy. Like he claims to have he claims to exercise under the influence of pure oxygen. Which doesn't make sense to me because when you exhale, yeah, sure, but respiration isn't a perfect reaction. You exhale oxygen as long as there was a regular amount of oxygen in the air. I have much more money than I know what to do with, and I will waste it on improving my workouts energy. Yeah, this is like Seymour Burns shit. The elbows have their own brain. That's why it hurts so much if you bonk it. Yeah.
Has its own brain.
It's screaming
and they're
pain.
constantly watching what you do to see how much you're lifting in case it might be dangerous. And since you might wobble when you're holding a dumbbell, then it knows that it needs to hold back. So your proprioceptors are lying to you to make sure that you're safe. You have way more strength and potential, but your body won't let you access that. So you can use technologies or techniques to show your body that you can get past a certain level, so it raises your strength threshold. What that means is that if you can remove...
I'm sorry, Master. Just this once. I have to go all out.
Or change that acceleration of gravity, the things that your proprioceptors are sensing, you can push your muscles to those new levels. So if you work out, say, with dumbbells, you won't be tricking your proprioceptors, but you can get better results than normal by focusing on the eccentric part of your lift. So if you were to do a dumbbell curl, you want to go up at whatever speed you go up, but you want at least 10 seconds to lower the weight. So that means you spend more time fighting gravity.
From what I understand, this is true.
And you want to do the number of reps it takes to reach exhaustion, which is usually about 10. You don't need to do 30 or 40 reps. There's also another kind of exercise that works better than just picking up rocks, which is what dumbbells really are. They're concentrated rocks turned into iron. You can use isometric exercise. So with this, you recruit as many muscle fibers at once as you can. It can even help to lower blood pressure.
What's Grandpa
Isometric
doing?
exercise means you're pushing against something that won't move. You can push against your hands like this. This is an isometric exercise. And
I was just stretching my calves on the windowsill. Isometric exercise.
Isometric exercise. Stretch your calves on the windowsill.
And you can do all sorts of things, even like a plank, where you're just holding a position. And that changes things, so you put on muscles more quickly than doing things at the normal
Yesterday
speed.
I missed Steamed Hams Day? No! This is a tragedy.
You can stand in a narrow hallway and push as hard as you can against one wall, bracing against the other. There is no
Can be if
gravity
you
in
want it
there,
to be.
so your body feels that it's safe to push harder, and you actually will push harder. Another hack that works ridiculously well is resistance
For the
bands.
faithful, every day is steamed
So if
hams.
now
True.
you're
Honestly, steamed hams might be one of the greatest works of comedic writing in human history. And I mean that in all seriousness.
you're lifting something and you're pushing against a stretchy piece of latex, it doesn't act like gravity, so the body has to recalibrate and readjust, and it grows muscle more quickly. My job is to teach you how to build muscle very quickly so that you can spend less time exercising and more time becoming conscious, more time with your kids, more time in service to others. I just don't want you to waste time in the gym getting very few results per minute of effort. If you
Sure, that's why you want me to pay you to exercise. Is he calling resistance biohacking? Yeah, anything that isn't 8 hours of cardio a day is biohacking. I prefer spending more time getting unconscious. I wake up, I jack off, I eat breakfast, I shit, I get out of the bed, I go to my computer, I jack off, I take a midday nap, I get up, I jack off, I go to the bed, I jack off again, and then I fall asleep for 12 hours. I experience zero thoughts. Oh, I found something. I found a new channel that fascinates. Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan.
I've been living with the Bigfoot in my life since about 2000.
I would say this is in between Last Week Tonight and the Eric Andre show in terms of its seriousness. Also, hi Renee. Hi Giop. You're just learning about Channel 5? I'm just learning about Channel 5 yesterday.
2009, they've got me as part of their clan. I have one that's with me no matter where I go. Everything is verified on my channel.
If you don't live with the Foots, you don't know the Foots.
They're not Bigfoot, they're not Sasquatch, they're the first people.
What do you mean by first people?
They were here long before us.
How long?
They came here with aliens. They told me this part. They came here with aliens tens of thousands of years ago.
Fucking Chewbacca.
The aliens came here to take gold from our land. They brought the Bigfoot to protect them from the dinosaurs. To protect them from the dinosaurs while they mined the gold. That's when they got here tens of thousands of years ago. That's why they're the first people.
So they are the first indigenous people of color in the northern landmass.
They're the first
Do you
people
think
who's ever
Star
here.
Wars was a
So do you
documentary?
think that part
No
of the
idea.
reason that
Maybe.
they stay in secrecy is that they're
No,
worried that they might
no.
not be able to survive
No.
under white supremacy?
No, they don't trust our government.
The Foots don't trust the government.
They know what these governments are about, and they don't trust them.
The Foots know what's going on in this government. They know everything's going on around everywhere.
Back in 1960s, the CIA took a Bigfoot put it into a room and captured it. They thought they captured it. If it didn't want to go, it wasn't going. They put it in a room, had cameras on it, and they watched it go poof and gone. CIA left them alone after that.
So you're not a fan of the CIA?
Huh?
You're not a fan of the CIA?
I'm not a fan of none of this government. I've never voted. They're all lying. It's all bull. I don't vote. It's going to get straightened out because I had a call out about that.
All the things I've called out are pretty much have happened. When things come out of my mouth, they happen. It's been the way all my life.
I called out 6 years ago. It was 2 months after Trump was in office. I had a call out that I wasn't even in a conversation. Just run out of my mouth at a buddy of mine's house and say, 70% of Congress is going to be gone. The corruption is going to be dealt with. The corrupt will be gone. There'll be no more corruption. We're going to get a paycheck. I don't know what that means. We're going to get a paycheck. They're going to use the RICO Act to prosecute these people. The RICO Act's getting talked about pretty heavy right now.
Yeah. You think there should be no government or just a little bit?
Very little, if any. Somebody's got to rule something, but they got to do it right. Freedom, total freedom, that's what we got to have.
Are you an anarcho-communist?
Am I what?
Squatch on! We're here right now in beautiful Reynoldsville, Pennsylvania, a.k.a. the Paris of Western PA. At the Bigfoot and Paranormal Expo, aka the Cryptoid Conference. Yeah, Reynoldsville. Reynolds started this place because he wanted a place for cryptoid hunters to have free reign away from the toxic jaws of the mainstream scientific community, hindering their investigation with their targeted smear campaigns.
I'm sorry. All right. What matters is the peer-reviewed research results. What matters is the data.
Now, as many of you know, about 2.5.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna do a little Pennsylvania lesson. I know a fair bit about Pennsylvania. So, you got Pennsylvania. Down here, there's Philadelphia. It's basically New York. Immediately outside of Philadelphia, that's Amish country, oddly enough. Down here, there's Pittsburgh. It sucks. It's just steel. Up here, there's the lake. It's not too bad. In the middle, it's Kentucky. And then over here, no one knows what's over here. No one has any idea what's ever happened in Scranton. No one's sure at all. The inner machinations of Lackawanna and Wyoming County are completely enigma. Like, no one's sure what's going on over there. This part that borders like the beginning of upstate New York, absolute mystery. No one's ever been there. Scranton is like the lost colony of Roanoke. The only reason it still exists is that it's temporally linked to The Office. I once was browsing the only reason that I know about this place is that Cameron County, I found it in like an almanac of like United States county statistics. Cameron County has 2 communities in it. One is called Emporium and the other is called Driftwood. And it has an absurdly high suicide rate for some reason. Like the map was like skewed because of Cameron County. They were just itching to die. And right here in the middle, the shining jewel at the center of Pennsylvania, a place called State College, because that's all that's there. This is a stupid state.
2.5 years ago, I went searching for Bigfoot in the woods of Minnesota. I was initiated into a small research team. I myself actually searched for Bigfoot. Unfortunately,
He's speaking in tongues. The spirits got him.
Unfortunately, we could not find him. After I posted my video, I was accused by the cryptoid community of being a plant from the mainstream scientific community sent to discredit their findings.
Andrew Callahan is clearly a compromised asset. It's in his best interest to make it appear as if he saw nothing, but we know he did. Who's paying this guy?
I'm here to prove that I am not. I'm an ally to all cryptoid searchers and finders. You know, I'm sure there's lots of shit I don't know. Let's walk up in there and see what the hell's going on.
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
What's going on?
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
Oh, we got Lehigh Valley's finest right here. Oh, God, this is a Pennsylvanian. Oh, that's terrifying. I've met this guy. I spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania because that's where my grandfather's from. Jesus Christ. Whoa. I've encountered this specimen in the wild.
Do you believe?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen him?
No. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, government likes to hide all kinds of stuff, so...
What do you think are the top 3 things the government is hiding?
Truth on the election. Right now, that's got to be a big one. And, of course, space aliens.
I guess Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, yeah, probably.
I'm Bill Rigby. I researched Bigfoot, all the cryptids, the paranormal, UFOs. I had a Bigfoot sighting that was 15 feet from me.
What happened?
I about filled my pants.
With what?
I about pooped.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay,
I about filled my pants. And,
You actually almost.
yeah, almost.
And did you begin immediately growing a tail?
Did what?
That's a term for when you're about to poop yourself.
Yes, almost.
Is it cryptids or cryptoids?
Cryptids.
Cryptids.
Some are legends from years ago, and some are people just think they saw something.
You ever seen Bigfoot?
Well, I believe we have. Like I say, I can't.
It's like every
100%
third
verify it,
person
no
when you ask
photos,
about
nothing.
anything, yeah.
We was out one night with the infrared binoculars, and we're just kind of looking around the yard because you get that eerie feeling like
The
something's
mystical
watching
Pennsylvania's
you.
old man. What are you talking about? That guy was like late 20s. The place just ages you.
Spotted something probably from here to the wood line.
He's
up
on
there
3 different
to where
opioids.
We seen eyeballs. Now, wasn't too sure. Kind of ducked behind a tree, kind of come back out, a couple different times.
I wonder
and I
what
told her to keep
overlap
looking
there
through
is,
the
if any,
binoculars, and I was going to
between
walk
Crypto
out
Bros
there. So I walked out
Cryptid
to where we
Bros,
believe
because
it
some of
was
the people
at,
got
and the
confused
eyeballs
about
were
the two.
probably about this.
I feel like, not necessarily for that reason, but I feel like there are cryptid people. Like, all of these people are clearly skeptical about the government. Pennsylvania is the state equivalent of the beach that makes you old. The shuttle is the state that makes you old. Oh, it's true. It's true. You meet somebody from like Lehigh County, Lucerne County, and they'll be like, I'm 23. And it's like, no, you're not. You're missing most of your teeth. And then you'll meet somebody from Pittsburgh. And it's like, yep, I work 8 jobs.
High above my head.
But yeah, no, a lot of these people are skeptical of the government, and I feel like Shyamalan wishes he could write something as bone-chilling as the state of Pennsylvania. Yeah, pretty much. But most of these guys are skeptical of the government, and I feel like a lot of crypto bros are also like, we gotta get off the fiat currency, man. I look over 40, but I'm only 19, seriously.
To where we seen it.
Eyeballs?
Yes, that's all we saw in the infrared was the eyes. It was too far out there to really detect a body shape or anything like that.
So that people think that Bigfoot is a primate or a possible distant relative or subclass to Homo sapiens. There is trace evidence of this creature. There's footprints, there's hair. It eats various types of food. We believe it's an omnivore.
Look at this
It
turnout.
eats whatever it wants, whatever it can find. It's an opportunist.
Hi, my name is Brian Seach.
And I'm Terry Seach.
People are seeing things. They're seeing something that looks like a giant ape, 6 to 8 feet tall, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia. They see it all over the place. So
How come they're so elusive and so hard to document?
They're smarter than humans.
That's the real tri-state
humans,
area right
which,
there.
if they're
Pennsylvania,
smart, that's a good
Ohio,
thing.
West Virginia.
If
that's
they're interdimensional.
That's the den of the fearsome critters.
That's another reason why they're elusive, because we're not able to see, where they're going or where they're coming from.
How about Mothman?
1966 to 1967, there was this winged entity seen in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, by over 100 witnesses. And if you've ever seen the drawings, it looks like almost like a humanoid with wings. And no neck, red eyes, able to keep up with cars at about 100 miles an hour. We were down there and we talked to a couple of eyewitnesses, and we believed it. that's what they saw. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but we believe that's what they saw.
So where did you guys meet?
It doesn't make any sense. Bigfoot's obviously and eminently real. One can divide this from first principles. Mothman, that's a little bit out there. Isn't the legend that like Mothman was somehow like benevolent because it like predicted a bridge collapse or something?
My grandpa.
MUFON conference when he gave a presentation on the orange orbs.
So
and I have his book too. Great book there, Terry.
Many people don't know my grandfather Terry Ray is actually a best-selling MUFON author. He wrote a book called The Mystery of the Orange Orbs, available.
What's a MUFON?
Available on Amazon. I've never met any mutual friends of my grandfather, so this is my first time. I wouldn't say they know each other. However, you have seen his presentation.
And I have his book also. I got his book. He documents in detail all of the different findings and what these orbs do. Just very interesting things. I do remember when I was reading it, he categorizes everything. So it's a good book.
All right, now I'm not sure what's going on here, but there's a flyer that's thumbtacked to this gazebo right here that says, Bigfoot turns me on. Please give me a call. One rule, no words, just grunts, growls, and howls. Now, I'm not sure if this is like a sort of like bestial phone sex hotline, but we're going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to give this person a call. Maybe it's like an alternative advertisement for a sex worker in the area. Not that I want to procure any services because I do have a girlfriend, but I would like to know, what's going on here. I typically considered Bigfoot to be a non-sexual entity, but I guess he's a horny fucker, so I think maybe this is meant for Bigfoot to call if he wants to have sex with a human, or it's for a girl to call if she wants to Bigfoot. Either way, I'm excited to get to the bottom of this. I'm calling the number right now.
Welcome to the T-Mobile payment line.
Oh, T-Mobile actually cut me off. Can I borrow your phone real quick? Yeah, I forgot to pay my phone bill at T-Mobile. I typically do that.
Call cannot be completed as dialed. Check the number and dial again.
Oh, it's a fake number. Someone's playing a prank on us, man.
That's not cool.
I got a question for you guys.
What's up?
Is he out there?
Swampy is definitely real.
Where's he at?
It's Everglades.
Okay, cool. Have you seen him?
No, I haven't seen him.
You ever tried to look for him?
No, I haven't.
You believe in God?
Yeah,
Why?
because that's what was taught to me.
Who taught it to you?
My mom and dad.
Your mom and dad still around?
No.
You miss
Prototypical corn-fed.
Do I miss them? Sometimes.
Hey, what are your top 3 interests right now in life?
Thinking about retire.
Nice.
That's the only thing I'm thinking about right now.
What's your job been for the past decades?
You looking at it. I make the fire pits and everything.
What do you like better, Golden Corral or Cracker Barrel?
Golden Corral.
Why?
These are the real questions.
Better variety.
You got any kids?
Yeah, a few.
You like them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where were you at on 9/11?
Sitting in my house.
What was your first reaction?
That was a cagey answer.
Wow.
You ever been to a concert?
Nope. Yes.
What concert was it?
Cher.
Was it magical?
It was good.
Would you rather be
Would not expect Cher.
invisible or be able to fly?
Invisible.
Why?
Then you can't see me. You wouldn't be here.
Hey, Dan.
Good.
What's on your mind today, bro?
Nothing.
Really? You believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know.
This fucking close-up shot is killing me. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You ever seen him?
No.
Do you want to see him?
Yes.
What's your favorite sports team?
None.
What do you like?
Dinosaurs.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
T-Rexes.
Why? This is like the most normal child I've ever seen.
Because I'm nice and angry.
Oh, wow.
Like he just has vague interests. He likes dinosaurs. He doesn't know how to position his body properly. He's got the lisp.
Are you angry?
No.
Are you happy?
Yes.
Are you scared of T-Rexes?
No.
How come?
I don't know.
I mean, if I saw a T-Rex, I'd be pretty
The
scared.
idea of a child. He is. He's the idea of a child.
Yeah.
Are you scared of anything?
Yes.
What are you scared of?
Ghosts.
Have you seen one?
No.
Are you scared you're gonna see one?
Yes.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A cop.
How come?
I don't know.
This is like communicating with a Ouija board. Are you angry? No. Are you happy? Yes.
You gonna save people?
Unbased
Yes.
child.
Who do you want to save?
People who need it.
That's right, man. You're a great kid, man. Thank you. What's your name?
Marcus.
All right, Marcus, I'm going to catch up with you in 20 years.
Future
I'll meet you
cop
right
who
here
will
in this
save
spot
people.
in 2043, okay? Sounds good. See you then.
Type thing.
I've actually scared people when we're out investigating with other researchers.
You also get a really good idea of whenever I'm in the doghouse.
Yeah.
This is what it sounds like when I get hollered at.
And you've actually been yelled at like that before
Oh my God.
after messing up.
I've been in the doghouse so many times, and just always constantly being hollered at. Dave do this, Dave do that, and it all it comes out like that.
How long have you been a believer for?
Wife bad, am I right, fellas? Oh, we've got an ad starting soon. That's their gasm noise. It feels like
I
it
don't
would
know if
be.
I'm really a believer or not. Everybody sees them. We have property down there. I don't see nothing. I hear tree knocks.
You hear that?
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah. Truthfully, I was getting a bit tired of hearing lukewarm eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot without hearing any substantial information about where he was. After all, as a journalist, my job is to find proof, and anecdotal evidence was only taking me so far. As the afternoon continued, I was able to
guy's
track
got
down the
fucking
lead
mushrooms.
organizer, a local man named Marcus. I figured maybe he was the guy to point me in the right direction.
Another Marcus. The place is crawling with Marcuses. All right, we're going to go on our last ad break.
Well, Seymour, I made it, despite your directions.
Ah, Superintendent Chalmers, welcome. I hope you're prepared for an unforgettable luncheon.
Yeah.
Oh, ye gods! My roast is ruined! But what if I were to purchase fast food and disguise it as my own cooking? Ho, 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 ho. Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
Skinner with his crazy explanations. The superintendent's gonna need his medication. When he hears Skinner's lame exaggerations, there'll be trouble in town tonight.
Seymour! Superintendent, I was just stretching my calves on the windowsill. Isometric exercise. Care to join me?
Why is there smoke coming out of your oven, Seymour?
Oh, that isn't smoke. It's steam. Steamed from the steamed clams we're having. Mmm, steamed clams.
Ooh.
Superintendent, I hope you're ready for mouth-watering hamburgers.
I thought we were having steamed clams.
No, I said steamed hams. That's what I call hamburgers.
You call hamburgers steamed hams?
Yes, it's a regional dialect.
Uh-huh. What region?
Upstate New York.
Really? Well, I'm from Utica, and I've never heard anyone use the phrase steamed hams.
Oh, not in Utica. No, it's an Albany expression.
I see. You know, these hamburgers are quite similar to the ones they have at Krusty Burger.
Oh, no. Patented Skinner Burgers. Old family recipe.
For steamed hams.
Yes.
Yes, and you call them steamed hams despite the fact they are obviously grilled.
You know, one thing I should... Excuse me for 1 second.
Of course.
Oh, well, that was wonderful. Good time was had by all. I'm pooped.
Yes, I should be. Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Aurora Borealis?
Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Yes.
May I see it?
No.
Seymour! The house is on fire!
No, Mother, it's just the Northern Lights.
Well, Seymour, you are an odd fellow, but I must say, you steam a good ham.
Help! Help!
And the ad break is going to be ending soon. Welcome back, everybody. I think we're going to finish up this video, and then we might find somebody to raid.
Wife and our buddy put this together.
Oh, this whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome, dude.
We started the nonprofit for the Bigfoot or Jefferson County Bigfoot Paranormal Expo. We put it all together. So.
What got you started in this whole subculture?
Believe it or not, our daughter, she was only 10 years old last year, and she is a vendor herself. She makes all kind of crafts and stuff, and she got all these crafts together for an event. The event canceled, and for a 10-year-old, telling her that she don't have all these crafts, she can't sell all the work that she just did.
It's no good.
So me and my wife decided we'll just do our own.
It seemed that Marcus was nothing more than a great dad who fell into the campy and benevolent category of squatcher, who doesn't believe in a zoological deep state and is way more quirky than conspiratorial. As far as legit leads, this conference seemed like a dud, and I realized that it was mostly just an opportunity for vendors to sell knicknacks and back alley barbecue. I was ready to scarf down a hot dog and shoot back to Philly, but then I noticed a Subaru pulling in that said Bigfoot Mobile Command Center, and this gave me hope. Behind the wheel was the El Chapo of tri-state cryptid researchers, Mike Famillant, a name that rings bells from Erie to Westchester.
Life with the possibility of Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster is far superior to one without.
I figured if I wanted to find this bastard, Mike was my best shot.
My name's Mike Famillant, and we are at the Jefferson County Bigfoot and Cryptid Festival in Reynoldsville, Pennsylvania. Cryptid is any sort of undocumented, undiscovered biological creature that's just unrecognized by science. So you have Bigfoot, you have winged cryptids such as Mothman, Jersey Devil, like we're going to talk about. You have the Dogman, such as some Bigfoot-type creatures, Bigfoot. Some people think that they're related to aliens and they could be beamed down from like UFOs.
This guy has like cop lingo. He's like, yeah, Bigfoot-type individual.
UFOs. Some people think that they're interdimensional and can like come into and out of this dimension, but I think they're biological creatures, just like us, like a here on this planet, like a duck or a chicken or a turkey or something.
How many Bigfoot do you think there are?
There's I think there's like 2,000 in the United States.
That's a guy in a
and
suit.
I think mostly they're up in the Pacific Northwest, up in Northern California, Washington, Oregon. But I think Pennsylvania definitely has a healthy population as well.
What's the most solid piece of evidence you have for the existence of Bigfoot?
Okay, so in High Point State Park in Northwest New Jersey, I did a barred owl call, which goes like, wah, 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 wah. Right, so I did one of them, very loud, and about 15 seconds later, we get a call back, and it's a series of 3 Bigfoot howls, right? So we recorded this for 5 people, 5 voice recorders, we all got it. I sent it away to a linguist from the military, scientist from the military, right, who does Bigfoot research on the side. He came and with this like 5-page report said because of X, Y, and Z, it's outside of human vocal range, and it's no known animal from northwestern New Jersey. That's a scientist from the military coming to say that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
So
that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Damn, I'd be stoked.
Yeah.
What does a Bigfoot howl sound like?
Loud and long. Did every continent except Antarctica has a cryptid on it.
How often do you look for it?
This is my full-time job. I actually...
Yeah, that's because that's the only one that we haven't lived on, so we didn't make anything up for it.
I go around and do this full-time, so I'm out probably 5 nights out of the week looking for Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Damn, so how many in total, searches have you done?
Oh, God, hundreds of them, if not thousands.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you personally seen one?
No, I haven't. I think I've been...
Have you ever seen? No. I've been doing this for like years, but I've never seen one.
Within like 20 yards up in Whitehall, New York, I was surrounded by a Bigfoot.
Suddenly, as it started, it stopped. So we think that they moved out of the area, and we think that they could have potentially came down here to the end of this road that we're at.
But I've never actually seen one, no.
How did you know you were surrounded?
Well, we were getting rocks thrown at us from all different directions. It was crazy. It lasted about 6 minutes.
Did that strike fear into your heart?
Oh, it was terrible. It was the most terrifying thing. And I knew it wasn't a person.
That's such a casual way to say that. Like, did that strike fear into your heart?
Because a 15-pound laptop-sized boulder came and crashed down 5 feet from us. That's how I knew it was. That was like my first Bigfoot activity. Nothing else happened the entire night. Nobody else had any activity that trip. So it was
Can
just
we
my,
get that interview with the
from
people
that,
who
it was
throw
like,
rocks
man,
at
that's
them? I'm
something
right
had
here.
to throw that.
I got the sense that for Mike, it wasn't so much about the Sasquatch and about gathering concrete evidence of Bigfoot's existence. It was about the activity of squatching itself. Hunting for Bigfoot gives Mike a chance to connect with nature, exist in harmony with the great outdoors, and return to his inner child, a soul full of imagination, gradually whittled away at by the pressures and stresses of contemporary Pennsylvanian life.
Everybody that hikes and gets outside, either looking for Bigfoot or otherwise, wherever they're at, they kind of find a place of solitude, listen and relax, and hate to get in touch with nature, but that's kind of what
Why can't you just go out for a hike and do a little bit of whooping?
it is. It's just, you can see behind me, this is just absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the best views I've seen in Whitehall. You know, find a nice spot, just sit for a minute. Don't let anything bother you. Don't worry about text messaging and emails and work and money.
Childhood wonder aside, Mike immediately struck me as some kind of salesman. Maybe it was his Subaru decal or branded polo shirt that gave it away. But either way, he spoke with the confidence of someone that had something for sale. Upon navigating to his website, he sells two things. His first product is guided tours, which is probably why he's out 5 nights a week. Other people pay to go with him. The other product is just a straight up DVD called Shadow of the Red Eye, which is a Ghost Adventure style chronology of his cryptozoological exploits.
What happens is it's pretty cool because sometimes someone will come up to me and say, hey, I've never told anybody this, but 30 years ago I had a Bigfoot sighting, right? Or a Bigfoot encounter. I've never told anybody this, but my show and my vehicle give those people a way to be able to tell their stories and to be able to come out and express what they saw, right? And a lot of people won't do that because they're afraid to get ridiculed or made fun of and stuff like that. My show gives them those people a way to be able to tell their stories in a
This guy's kid is gonna come out to them as like gay or trans or something, and he's gonna get disappointed that they're not coming out to him as having a Bigfoot sighting.
very professional way, right?
Once again, I was becoming discouraged. As a news team, were we really any closer to finding Bigfoot than we were when the day began? I mean, if I was Bigfoot, I'd probably avoid places like that. I signaled to my production team that it was time to bounce. But then suddenly, a brave man emerged from the shadows to interrupt Mike's presentation with hard facts about his experiences with the Big Feet.
How many Bigfoot have you seen?
How many Bigfoot have I seen? 0. Big.
Okay, I live with them.
Okay.
I'll give you a card. You with him? I've done this for a lot of years, and they're not what people think.
This is incredible.
Okay. Interesting.
You got any
Oh,
questions?
look
I
at
got
all
an
his
email address.
business card. Oh my
Name's
God.
Stacy Hazlitt.
You got the bulk discount.
I've been living with the Bigfoot in my life since about 2009.
If you don't live with the Foots, you don't know the Foots.
My life was raised for this. I also have a thing I do call-outs. Things come out of my mouth that happen later. That's irrelevant to this. Yeah, the Bigfoot come to me in about 2009.
My gift of
the property
prophecy
I
is
bought in
irrelevant to my
96.
understanding
They were
of the
around my
Bigfoot.
property for a long time, but they eventually showed up, and now they've got me as part of their clan. I have one that's with me no matter where I go.
Anything that I am telling you, I am totally willing to take a polygraph test, and anybody who wants to submit me to a polygraph test, they have to promise and assure me that the results will be publicized.
My job from them is to let everybody know what they're about.
So you actually talk to them?
Yeah, and they're with me everywhere I go.
Like they're here now?
My female is no doubt with me. I don't hear her right now, but she's everywhere I go.
What do you mean by your female?
It's a female.
Oh, okay. But you don't. It's not a romantic relationship.
No, we have a love relationship that's went on for years, but there's no physicals. No.
This is a never-ending story for me because we still live with the Bigfoots. They still contact us. We still have.
Ace romantic Bigfoot lover.
We're still in touch with them.
That's been going on for a little while.
Do you think the government is hiding them from us?
They know about it. It's like they're just now coming out with UFOs. That's been known about a long time.
Yeah.
The government don't let you see things because they can
I feel
do
like
nothing
Bigfoot
about
would
it.
happen
UFOs,
before
it's getting so
UFOs,
prevalent
if it
they
was
got to
real.
come up with it. I think it was in 2022.
Wonder how much I can make get
I
grifting
I went and
Bigfoot
met
stuff.
with
The money's there.
Heads of the
More
families.
power to you.
The Bigfoot families.
Yeah. I asked them if I could get a picture of them and me together to verify that I'm with them and I want to represent them in Congress to get them protected.
I
They
want to
don't trust
represent the
government to
Bigfoot
do
in
it.
Congress.
They know what these governments are about and they don't trust them.
The Foots don't trust the government.
I couldn't believe what I heard. I mean, from a research perspective, I hit the mother flippin' jackpot. It's one thing to report a Class A Bigfoot sighting, or present a choppy photo of the Sasquatch and say that it's him. But to actually live with them and be escorted to meet with the heads of the families, whatever that meant, was a whole different ballgame, and I had to find out more. Thankfully, whenever Stacy confronted Mike, he gave me his business card. So the next morning, I gave him a call. And to my surprise, he invited me, that's right, Andrew Callahan from Channel 5 News, to actually tour his compound and see the big feet myself. So I threw a backpack together and hopped on the next flight to Columbus, Ohio, where Stacy told me he'd be on the south side
boy,
of town
we're in the cut
and
now.
would give me a full tutorial on Bigfoot communication tactics.
The processes you have to go through to be in touch with the Bigfoot like I am. I mean, it's nuts as it sounds, I'm just telling you the way it is. If I do something they don't like, I'm gonna get spanked. Yeah, this is paradise. I'm not trying to exploit them in any way. This ain't something you just conjure up. They do what they want. Hey, Flower, you got any friends out here? Hey, Flowers, anybody out here?
If you'd like to see our new complete documentary, Stacy's Bigfoot Portal, go to our Patreon, www.patreon.com/channel5. As many of you know, we are totally independent and 95% crowdfunded. And it's your $5 monthly subscriptions that allow us to stay in the field and film stuff like this. So if you want to watch it, head on over. www.patreon.com/channel5.
My name's Stacy Hazlitt, and we're in front of my shop.
This is the most desirous of like a Patreon subscription I've ever been. Jesus Christ, that's insane. I love that. All right. Me selling clips of my Bigfoot pornos. Let's find somebody to raid. This was a fun stream. I feel like I'm getting back into the swing of things. Let's see who's streaming. Let's raid Director Chugi. There we go. Alrighty. Everybody pile in. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. I will be streaming again very soon. We are getting back into the streaming game. And all sorts of other content creation. I'm really excited. I don't think I have anything planned in the immediate future, but if I do, I'll let you guys know on the usual places. But until then, bye-bye.